Yes, I am guilty. I am a quiet quitter. And this video is for all of those other high performers who are actually quite miserable at their jobs and have been wanting to quiet quit and thinking that that will take them away from their misery, but you just haven't been able to do it. I wanted to take you through how myself, as a self-identified high performer, quiet quit and kind of the pros and cons of what goes with that. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm proud of that. And actually my definition of quiet quitting is doing your base responsibilities, but no more and no less. And if you're a top performer, that actually drives you pretty crazy because you have big dreams and big ambitions, but you're not in the spot that you see yourself in the future. So if you're finding yourself in that very frustrating, miserable space, I filmed this video for you. The very first piece of advice that I can give is please stop pretending that you like your job. I know I've been you, you've probably spent the last 1 to 2 years like really pretending that you still like your job, not being fully honest with yourself and not being fully honest with your boss. Quite often, when you're pretending that you like your job, you are growing in skills that you despise, and you're agreeing to do that. You're even suggesting courses and skills that you think your company, they want you to learn. And it's just keep on like digging this miserable ditch of you're building this resume of all of these skills and experiences that you actually don't like to do. And you're finding that when you go to the job market and you're trying to apply to jobs, you've built a resume that's perfect for jobs you don't like to do. And since your employer only knows what you show and tell them, and you're doing all your work, and you're doing it on time, and you're doing a decent job at it because you are that type of person, chances are they don't know exactly how you feel. And contrary to what you're reading all in the news and all on social media about quiet quitting, if you're a high performer, quiet quitting only hurts you. It doesn't hurt your employer. Because probably contrary to what you think, there are actually a lot of people who are not good at their jobs. And as someone who follows the rules and is a high performer, you will continue to do your base responsibilities even if you're quiet quitting. So if you do decide to quiet quit, you keep pretending that you like your job enough and you don't really communicate what you want, you're not taking advantage of your employer, you're actually being a pretty good employee. You're not rocking the boat, you're not causing any problems. And you will stay in that situation until you decide to do something about it. So after you stop pretending that you like your job, my next piece of advice is to recognize that quiet quitting will set you back in a way that you may never be able to recover from. And I know that sounds dramatic and drastic, but the truth of the matter is that the skills that you learn right now will compound with time. It takes reps upon reps upon reps to master something that will basically get you the earning potential or get you the career or get you to wherever you actually want to go. And right now, you're thinking about quiet quitting because you feel stuck in the place that you're at. So the longer it takes for you to identify the skills you want to learn, where you want to learn them, how you want to learn them, the career and the job that you want, the longer it will take to get there. The longer you put off making a change, the less power of time compounding that you will have. So I am of the opinion that quiet quitting will affect your later net worth. Quiet quitting is very much a short-term mindset. You're getting a little bit of relief in the moment, but it's at the expense of your long-term potential. And of course, in this video, I am particularly talking to high achievers who want to go out and they want to achieve bigger and greater things. The time is now. Because once you realize how where you are is holding you back from your future self, my next piece of advice, and something that I had to drill into my head, is that I am the CEO of my own life. And as CEO, I have a responsibility to myself to maximize my salary, maximize my earning potential, maximize my satisfaction and fulfillment in whatever realm or whatever industry that it is that I wanted to set out on. And that nobody should control that for me. Nobody should be picking what my next job roles are or how fast I move to them. It is my responsibility to direct my own life. It is your responsibility to direct your own life, and it's not your employer's responsibility. And in fact, it is in you and your employer's best interest to find you a role where you feel like you're growing. And because of that, you want to get out of your misery, the lowest risk way to find a position that you feel more invested in and to get out of that mindset that you want to quiet quit because you realize that that's a short-term mindset and that you really have a long-term vision in mind. The easiest way to go about this is to have an honest and open discussion with your employer where you identify roles that you know you're interested in trying, present those roles and suggestions to your employer, and set a timeline in which you have an expectation that you will move to some of these roles. I call this the lowest risk way because you don't have to apply to other jobs. You don't have to take a salary cut. You don't have to move. You also get to use that social capital that you built up in the company, which is another reason why it's good to not check out and to not quiet quit so that your employer can act as an advocate as they try to find you in different roles in the company. Now, you should have this conversation with your direct supervisor regularly, at a minimum at your monthly one-on-ones. Do not wait for your performance review to tell them about your unhappiness and about your desire to learn something different, because especially in large companies, it can take a long time to move people. So the sooner you identify the roles that you would like to try, the sooner you have the conversation, the sooner you can get started. Now, here is a piece of real advice. Really monitor how long it takes for them to enact that job change. Because again, your time is valuable. You know where you want to go. And if it takes longer than the personal expectation that you set, it's time to make the jump. Now, if you do decide to stay, there's something identified for you that you're excited about, just take a mental note about how long it did take, because it's very likely that you will want to try different roles and learn different skill sets throughout the entirety of your career. And it's likely that the amount of time that it took the first time will be about the same amount of time, maybe even longer in the future. If you decide you do want to jump ship or you don't want to wait that long, the fastest way to re-engage with your work and to get you learning and practicing the skill set that you want and are interested in would be to directly apply to roles that utilize that skill set. There is, of course, a third option. If you don't want to work with your current employer to find a new role and you don't want to apply directly to jobs, you could stay where you are and learn skills on the side, build a side hustle, take classes, or some other means of learning the skill set that you want and you're interested in. This is actually what I did. And looking back, I don't recommend it. I think that was the hardest path to take because over time, that energy drain of being in a job that you're just not inspired by, it really takes a toll on other parts of your life and bleeds into other parts of your life. So although you might have a lot of free time because you're quiet quitting and you're not being that overachiever at work, it's also hard to be an overachiever in your side hustle because just your mental space is exhausted from your day. It is possible. There's a lot of success stories that have either launched awesome businesses or learned super cool skill sets while that they were in their kind of quiet quitting 9-to-5 job. So it is a possibility. But for me, looking back, I actually wish that I had directly applied to job roles that would teach me the skills I wanted to learn, because it is always good to learn with someone else's money. There's actually no reason why you can't build a side hustle or learn skills on the side while you're actively applying to other jobs or trying to move within your current company. And I actually do recommend building a side hustle because it teaches you so many skills that you don't really get a chance to really dive into when you are part of a company, because generally when you're part of a company, you have a very defined role. My last tip, my main advice, would be to start having that conversation. Recognize the skill sets that you want, identify roles that you think will get you to your future path. And if it's not moving fast enough for you, apply to other jobs and consider starting a side hustle. You can find other roles either within your company or outside your company or within yourself that will work with you and will teach you what you want to learn. Because honestly, life is too short and these years are way too valuable for you to check out now. So if you are a high performer, an overachiever who's considering quiet quitting, take it from a fellow quiet quitter. There's a lot of other options out there for you.